Primian wondered what was going on all of a sudden. Ihelm said that Deculein had been completely unpredictable the entire conference and that he didn't understand it at all. He demanded to know why Deculein was acting like that and risking the other mage house's anger. Ihelm glared, his eyes burning with contempt. He asked if Deculein was seriously afraid of the Scarletborn. Primian's thoughts raced in shock at the suggestion. Ihelm went on, reminding Deculein that he had once said he wanted to kill off the Scarletborn. No, that he had insisted they were an inferior race unworthy of living on that land. He added that the paper Deculein had written, condemning the Scarletborn, was still in the university archives. Then, with a cruel smirk, he questioned whether Deculein's change of heart was because his new slave working on his research was a Scarletborn. Alan slammed the table, shouting that Ihelm was going too far and demanding that he stop insulting Deculein. Deculein, calmly wiping his face, told Alan to calm down and assured him that he was fine. Then, turning to Ihelm, he remarked that Ihelm was like rotten cheese from the brain down, so it wasn't surprising for him to think like that. He added that it was understandable that Ihelm wouldn't get it. Ihelm's glare intensified. Then he flashed an odd smile and replied, "Right." Before leaving, Ihelm mentioned that he had heard there were 6 months left until Deculein's research presentation, or was it 3? He challenged Deculein, saying they would see how long he could keep this up until his vile blabber was exposed. With that final jab, he walked away, his unpleasant stare lingering until the end. Primian's hand trembled as she thought about how Deculein had acted like that even while risking offending the others. He had actually sided with the Scarletborn? Is this Deculein? She found it hard to believe. Staring at him, her mind reeled. She recalled Lockhack's words and wondered silently, was what he had said really true? The next day, before leaving Barrett, Deculein met Lokalok, one of the greatest named craftsmen, and commissioned a staff from him. System notification. Side quest complete. Lokalok's staff. The conditions for completing the quest were as follows. 1. Possessing sufficient fame or infamy. 2. Being a kind-hearted person or one who had reformed. 3. Offering the finest materials that could intrigue Lokalok. 4. Visiting at least twice. As a reward, Deculein received +1 store currency. A staff crafted by Lokalok. Lokalok was such a renowned craftsman that even the previous Deculein had supposedly visited him. In the process of commissioning the staff, an unknown quest had been cleared. On the train heading back to the Empire, Deculein happened to be in the same carriage as Badin. Throughout the journey, Badin made no effort to hide his hostility, but fortunately the tension never escalated into anything serious. As he turned a page in his book, Deculein reflected that this long journey was finally coming to a close. The group arrived quietly and safely at the platform. Alan stretched loudly as he stepped off the train, letting out an exaggerated groan. The landscape felt heavier than when they had first arrived. Thick snow blanketed the platform, and through the swirling flurries, Alan exclaimed that they only had to transfer once more and wondered aloud when they would finally see something besides snow. Deculein's attention, however, was drawn to a figure in white armor and a black cape. Julie, flanked by her identically dressed knights. As he approached, she continued to stare at him. With measured steps, he closed the distance between them. Deculein greeted her simply, saying her name. Julie replied that she had heard he was attacked and that she was glad he was all right. Her voice carried its usual tone, though it was firmer now. Frail, yet unwavering. Deculein thanked her. He assumed news about Veron must have reached them, though he wasn't sure how the story had spread. Many seemed displeased that he was the sole survivor. Julie's hand trembled slightly as she spoke. She mentioned that she had read about the incident in the paper, which claimed that Deculein and Veron had worked together to rescue the survivors. Deculein remained still. Without knowing which article she had read, he couldn't risk careless words. Julie then asked just one thing. She wanted to know what Veron had been like. Deculein weighed his response carefully, meeting her eyes. He had originally planned to tell her everything, that Veron had tried to kill him, that their fight had led to this outcome. But facing her now, he realized he couldn't. The truth would shatter her. Julie would blame herself as if Veron's sins were her own. For her sake, he decided to bury it, even if it meant earning others' hatred. The screech of arriving train wheels cut through the silence. A train staff member announced that the 4th train heading to the Empire was now boarding, and instructed ticket holders to board immediately. Deculein couldn't bring himself to lie outright. Instead, he replied that Veron had been quite emotional. Julie inhaled deeply and bowed her head. She thanked him and said they would head to Veron now, then wished Deculein a good rest before turning to leave with her knights. Deculein thought to himself that he was a fool too, unable to even untangle the emotions in his own heart. Alan muttered that those people were all so unreasonable. He complained that even though they were victims too, others looked at them as if they were the ones at fault. Deculein told him not to mind them, dismissing them as just fools. Then, unexpectedly, Sylvia's voice cut in, uncharacteristically unsteady. She asked why Deculein had held back. Deculein turned to her puzzled and asked what she meant. Sylvia didn't answer. Instead, she rummaged through her bag and thrust a book at him, saying it was her way of returning the favor. Deculein took it, bewildered, but before he could react, Sylvia dashed away. Alan asked what the book was, but Deculein admitted he wasn't sure either. The whole trip had been exhausting. All he wanted now was to rest. He told Alan they should hurry back, and Alan agreed. With that, they boarded the train.